Wingspan, this is your review for 2. Good day, my name is Joe Gerba. Today I'll be going over Wingspan and how it plays with 2 players. Now Wingspan is a 1 to 5 player game where you'll be building your collection of birds. This collection will be in 3 different habitats, and as you go through the game you'll be filling these habitats and being able to engine build on each one of these habitats separately, trying to score end of round goals, trying to lay eggs, trying to tuck cards under birds, all while scoring points. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins the game. Now let's see a little bit more how to play. So at the beginning of the game, you're going to get 2 bonus cards, 5 bird cards, and 5 resources. You're going to look at all these cards at once and decide which ones you want to keep. You'll look at the 2 bonus cards and decide which one you can achieve more easily and discard the other one. And the bonus card will be an end of game scoring mechanic. The other 5 bird cards you'll look at and see which ones you want to keep. However many bird cards you keep, you'll have to discard that many resources. So if you just keep 1 bird card, you'll have to discard 1 resource. Therefore, you have 1 bird card in your hand and 4 resources. Or vice versa, you could keep 4 bird cards and only have 1 resource. Some of these bird cards are going to give you bonuses as you activate the rows and so forth. Some may give you one-time bonuses. Some may give you abilities to do on other people's turn. And some people may give you abilities that happen at the end of the round. So as you go through this game, you'll be playing birds on the leftmost space of whatever habitat you're allowed to play the bird. And as you fill up these habitats, your engine build, your little combo building will become better in that habitat. For every brown power you have in that habitat, once you go further, once you get the higher ability, you'll be able to activate each bird's ability as you go down, and the brown abilities you'll be able to activate anytime you choose that habitat. These habitats are going to vary quite a bit. The first one, you're going to be gaining resources. You'll be gaining resources out of the bird feeder, which is kind of an interesting mechanic where you'll roll these dice, and these dice will be determining what kind of resources are available at the time. And then you'll be able to do any other brown powers you have in that row. And the same goes for the next row, the Savannah row. And in this row, instead of getting resources, you're going to gain these eggs. Now these eggs at the end will be worth 1 point per egg on all your birds. So the more eggs you stack up, the more points you'll get at the end of the game. But also to play birds in further columns, you'll need more eggs. So it'll be kind of a balance on whether you want to get eggs or resources, and you kind of need both to play these birds. Now the last column, the water column, will be how you get more cards. So in this game you don't get an X amount of cards per turn. You'll have to actually go to this space, go to this habitat to draw more cards. So like I said, the more birds you have in these rows, the more you'll be able to do that specific action. The more brown cards you have, the more brown ability cards on your birds, the more engine building and combo building you can have in the game. A couple other key features to the game. Some of these birds may have once in between turns, which means it happens on the opponent's turn, or they may have end of round powers that can be pretty potent, but they can only activate at the end of the round. And some birds even have just a one-time use where you may be able to draw another bonus card or just get resources for a single time use. Now, you'll also be able to draw birds from the 3 that are placed on this little habitat over here, and these don't get replaced until the end of the round. So when you draw cards, you can either draw cards from here or draw cards off the top of the deck. Now at the end of each round, there'll be different end of round conditions, and whoever meets those the best, whoever has the most, say birds in a habitat or whatever specified on the tile, will get more points than the other person. That's another way to gain points in this game. So all those being accumulated, all your eggs at the end of the round, all your tucked cards, when you need to tuck a card because a bird may, eat another bird, more or less. The more eggs on cards, the more food on cards. Each bird has points, kind of a little point salad near the end, and whoever has the most wins the game. Now let's see a little bit more what I thought about the game. The components to this game are nice. I like all the punch outs. Each player has their own board, which I like. There's the end of round scoring, which really varies things up. I like the view of the eggs. It's a very aesthetically pleasing game. My wife just really likes the look of this game. All the different birds. There's a ton of cards. We did add the European bird expansion in here. So there's even just a ton more cards, some different colored eggs, some different end of round scoring tiles. And there's just a lot to this game. Component wise. It definitely takes up a good portion of the table. You can be a little bit more organized than we are. We've been a little bit lackadaisical lately, just being a little bit more spread out. But for 2 players, you could definitely get this on a 3x3. The rules, there's a great little rules explanation. If you just want to start in and come in cold, they give you like a round by round, a little turn by turn, a little explanation of what you can do on your turns. They give you sample bird cards that you have. This game's very accessible. It'd be very easy to teach. The strategy does go a little bit more into depth once you get going, but as far as the ease to teach, the ease to get to the table, I'd say this is pretty high. Now there are a lot of components, so it won't be super quick to set up, but I definitely think that this is a pretty simple game to get to the table, and one of those games, once you know the rules, you definitely won't need to read up very much on the rules to come, because it's a well thought out, easy game with easy to comprehend rules. Now, I really do enjoy the gameplay in this. They do tout it as an engine building game. I'd say it's pretty engine building light. I'd say more combo building. One of the strategies that you can go is kind of abandon one of these rows, and hopefully you can get eggs. Say you want to abandon the Savannah row, and you can get eggs from some of these other bird cards by activating one of the other 2 rows. There's various strategies you can do. You can try to stack up on birds, or you can just go really light birds, or really try to get those bonus cards and bonus points. And with the European expansion, they add a lot of different ways to win. There's a lot of different end of round goals. So there's a lot of things to think about. You can't do everything in this game, which is kind of nice. You can't be the jack. You can be the jack of all trades and get some points in every category, or you can try to do a few of them really well. But you can't do everything, which I really do like about this game. Once you get your combos going, you can really start to escalate the game. But the first few turns, you'll be deciding which avenue you want to take. And I like that about the game is the decisions you make, carry out for the rest of the game. Your early game decisions can really cascade down the road. What's neat about this game are the 4 resources you have in this game. You have cards in hand that you need to manage. You have your action cubes you need to manage. You start with 8. And as each round passes, you'll have 1 less because you'll put one of the cubes on the end of round scoring. So by the end, you're only going to have 5 actions to take on your turn, which is going to feel constrictive. But as you build these birds, as you build these combos, it becomes, each play is pretty big. So you have the cubes, you'll have the resources, which you need to manage the actual bird feeder. Once the bird feeder's out of dice, you'll re-roll them. Or if they all show the same face, you'll re-roll them again. And you really need to decide when you want to take resources and what resources you want to take. There's the eggs themselves is the last resource, where they're end of game points, but to play those higher level birds, to play those birds that'll make your combo bigger, you're going to have to spend some eggs. So you can't completely abandon one of these rows without having some compensation. And that's what makes this game fun is you're going to have some trade-offs. If you abandon one row and you need, say I abandon the water row and I need to draw a card, well, I can draw 1 card if I go there, but that's kind of an inefficient use of action. So it's a pretty big combo breaker. You do have some luck versus strategy. You never know what card you're going to draw when you draw off the top of the deck. That's why they kind of give you, 3 face-up cards. So in a 2-player game, you can at least see a couple of them. First player does kind of mean a lot because it shows you what kind of cards you need here, and you'll be the first one to take it. And there's a ton of bird cards. All the powers are varied, and that's really neat about this game. The replayability is super high. We've actually played 3 or 4 games in a row without shuffling the bird deck just to see all the birds. There's a ton of them in there. You could play back to back to back. Each game's going to run you about 45 minutes once you get going. And it's easy to get that replayability. It's easy to play, 3 games in one sitting, 2 games in one sitting. Just vary up the end of round bonuses. They're all double-sided. With the expansion, you may have about 12 to choose from that will just be random at the beginning of the game. A ton of bird cards. There's a ton of bonus cards. There's a little bit of randomness on which resources are going to come up. So it's just enough randomness to keep it interesting, to keep each game different. So you can't just do the same strategy over and over. And that's why I think this game really shines, is each game is going to be a little bit different. And it all depends on what kind of cards you get, what resources, what tiles are drawn. And I think that's really neat about this game. So in the end, is this game good for 2? And I think it's a lovely game with 2. There's not much else to put it. It's quick. There's not much downtime. Each player will be playing, and you'll be thinking about your next turn. There may not be a ton of interaction back and forth. The only interaction you're really going to get is mainly in these pink cards, which do something on the other player's turn, and most of it's just when they go somewhere, you get to maybe do a little bit extra action. But this game kind of has it all. Like I said, mini engine building. The replayability is high. The theme is really nice. It's all about birds. Some of these birds are just fun to look at. There's a fact on every bottom of every bird card. This gameplay. Not saying that every quick game makes it a good game, but I like where the downtime is low. You're always doing something. You're always thinking. You're seeing what the other person's doing. And, that may not be the head-to-head interaction you're going to get with some of these other war games. But don't get me wrong, this game still has, those combos you can try to exploit. And you're trying to get every single resource out of every single action. So it's a gamer's game. It's a light game if you just want to get something to the table. Even if someone's not big into, big engine building. Like I said, it's light engine building. It's combo building. And that's what makes this game kind of fun. So this game won't ever leave the collection. It'll just be, it's a nice, easy game to play. Like I said, we enjoy playing, 2 sessions in a row without even taking a break. It's a lot of fun. There's always something to do. Downtime's low. It's fun to build the engines, fun to decide on the cards, the resources, the decisions. It's just all around. It's a great 2-player game. With more players, these pink cards that do something on other people's turns will come into effect a little bit more. But I think that's about all you're going to get extra with this game. Maybe a little bit more in the placement. But for 2 players, it's a lovely game to play, and it's quick, and I just really like how everything gels together in this game. So that's my review of Wingspan. I fully endorse this game for 2 players. I love it a lot, and this will not leave the collection anytime soon. So thank you for listening, and until next time.